Welcome, everybody, to the first Friday e-call with K-State Extension. We are so glad to have you here. As if you've been here often, then you know that the purpose of the first Friday e-call is to increase the local community's knowledge of the experts, the education, and the economic resources available to help small businesses and the communities who love them. As always, the call is being recorded, and you will get a link to the website next week, or maybe even today. Oh no, next week. My colleague is on vacation, and a copy of the presentation deck. Please know that we want to know if and why this conversation is valuable to you. So, at the end of the call, there are very short survey questions. One is, did you learn something today that you can use immediately? Number two, how many people will you forward this information to? And number three, what did you learn today that was most helpful to you? Today's speakers are Monique Mercurio, Rebeca Herrera, Luisana, Chaida, and our facilitator, Simone Elder. According to the U.S. Census, almost 14% of Kansans moved in the last year to a different home in the last year, and about half of them came from a different city, state, or country. And so how we create a welcoming environment for those people for whatever reason that they came to Kansas or to our community is important. So Simone and friends, thank you for joining us and helping us to be intentional about this.
Thanks, Nancy. We are excited to be here. I had the pleasure, again, Simone Elder. I work for the Kansas Sampler Foundation, and I had the pleasure to get connected with Luisana, Rebeca, and Monique a couple months ago when Nancy asked us. In our first conversation, I actually thought this once, I wish we could have just recorded it because we had such a exciting and robust discussion about what it looks like to be welcoming, who are we welcoming. So I'm going to just kick us off with a few slides about welcoming communities and the work of the Kansas Sampler Foundation. And then I will turn it over to Rebeca, Luisana, and Monique. So at the Kansas, oh, hold on one second, I'm not advancing. Okay, so at the Kansas Sampler Foundation, through some of our work, we believe that a welcoming community is a community of the future. And so here in a moment, I'll tell you a little bit more how we came up with that definition and what a community of the future really is. So Kansas Sampler Foundation, if you don't know us, we are a public 501c3 nonprofit based near Inman. We have been doing our work for over 30 years, and our mission is to preserve and sustain rural culture. So we do that in two ways. We educate Kansans about Kansas. Marcy Penner, who is joining us on our call today, and her dad, when they first were out traveling around Kansas, they quickly realized people did not know our state very well. And so we help educate Kansans about Kansas through the Kansas Explorers Club, our Big Kansas Road Trip pop-ups, which were formerly part of the Kansas Sampler Festival, if you're familiar with that, and our Kansas Guidebook. And then while on the road, Marcy and Mill were meeting fantastic people, doing really cool things, and realized there was a need to connect these people, these doers and volunteers in rural Kansas communities with each other to share ideas. So we have a vast grassroots network that helps connect people and ideas and to shine a light on the good things going on in rural Kansas. And a bulk of our work, to Nancy's point, I'm glad she shared the statistics about how many people are moving to Kansas and where they're coming from. But a bulk of our work is done in communities under 1,500 population, which is about 70% of the Kansas communities. So in 2021, the Office of Rural Prosperity commissioned the Kansas Sampler Foundation to help them understand what were the challenges and opportunities for attracting and retaining young people to rural places. And to find this out, we surveyed over 500 people in their 20s and 30s. We interviewed 175 of those and wrote the Kansas Power Up and Go report. And in this report, there are recommendations for state government, recommendations for communities, businesses, and some work for the Kansas Sampler Foundation that we're excited to be able to do to, again, how do we create rural places that are attractive to people in their 20s and 30s. Just as a side note, a power up in our world is a 21 to 39-year-old who is rural by choice. So you'll hear that phrase. So the work that the Kansas Sampler Foundation does this, and back to that, welcoming communities are communities of the future. We found that communities of the future are communities that like themselves. They are welcoming to newcomers. They're interested in supporting all who live in their town, and they have a desire to engage all residents in moving a community forward. They find ways to be inclusive and supportive. They support the arts with creative local projects, that reflect and amplify the vibe of their community. They listen, they engage, they believe in and invest in themselves. So you will really get a sense of this when you hear Rebecca and Luisana and Monique share the stories of their work they're doing in Kansas communities, because it looks a lot like a community of the future. How do we welcome? But before I turn this over, I just wanted to pull out a few things that Power Ups had said to us about being welcomed. And again, these are people we heard from Power Ups from all 105 counties in the state about what is their experience, what do they wish it would look like. So someone said, I felt it took 2 to 5 years to be accepted in my community. It takes an investment of time to be accepted. Someone else said, we should involve newcomers, welcome so they want to stay. The thing about a newcomer is that there are no sacred cows. No, we always did it this way to get in the way of thinking about how to do it. We hear this a lot. I'm sure you have experienced this in your community, but there's no welcome type of program. Nothing, if it's not online, people have a hard time figuring out how do we set up life here. And I've lived where I live for 14 years. And I even experienced this when I first had a child entering the school system. It's like, oh, that's how this works. So whether you're a newcomer of 1 to 5 years or 10 to 14, there are still things that we can figure out together. And the first 3 may seem like a little bit of complaints and what can we do better, but I really love this this quote from someone who was interviewed about someone who did it right. A neighbor, 85, came over to introduce himself. A few days later, he brought over a bag of sweet potatoes from his garden. Later, he offered us his hair. It made us feel so welcomed out here in the country. So everybody in a community has the opportunity to be welcoming, whether it's something as simple as inviting someone new to attend a meeting with you or sharing a bag of sweet potatoes. So when we think about creating welcoming communities in Kansas, there's a few segments of people I think we can be doing a good job about welcoming. One is returnees. Even if you are from a place, it really makes a difference to feel welcomed home. For example, and returnees, I guess I should also say, come in all different ages, whether they're in their 20s and 30s, or in a recent conversation, we talked about the people who are coming home when they're in their 50s and 60s to take care of aging parents, or maybe they've retired and they want to return home. So remembering returnees come in all ages, and how do we welcome them by investing in their ideas and their new ways of seeing the world. Of course, there's newcomers, and some of those quotes, I think these are the people we think first and foremost of making sure we're welcoming. And these can be young families, these can be single adults, but then they can also be the diverse voices. In 2018, the Kansas Health Foundation issued a report about a changing Kansas. And the bottom line was our as a whole, by 2066, our whole state will become more diverse in population because we're seeing population group growth in those minority groups. And so, what are we doing to welcome diverse voices? And I'm really excited for the main presenters to share their stories about what that looks like. And just when you think about welcoming communities, I interviewed a power up once who said, "Yep, I came to this community. I'm kind of in a position of leadership. So people they were welcoming, they were nice, but I really didn't feel like I belonged because I felt like the people who had always been there had their established friend groups." And so it's just important to remember to step outside your comfort zone, whether that means making a U shape when you invite people to the conversation, or if it means practicing Spanish at the grocery store with the clerk. Um, this These are just simple ways. You don't have to do every big thing that comes to mind. Nancy shared, she goes, if I do 1 out of 10 things that is kind or welcoming, sometimes I feel like it's not enough, but those 1 out of 10 things really make a difference. So with that, I am going to turn this over to Rebecca and Luisana to share about the work they are doing in Emporia.
Hi, thank you so much for letting us be here with you today. And thank you for everyone for being here and helping us celebrate diversity and what we're doing in Emporia, Kansas. My name is Rebecca Herrera, and I serve as the membership director at the Chamber of Commerce. And I want to tell you a little bit about what we do here to welcome different people from different backgrounds. Okay, so I'm going to tell you a little story. It all started when I first came to the Chamber of Commerce 3 years ago. The Visit Emporia director at the time, Leland Danes, had started Emporia Spanish speakers. The word got out that Leland and I spoke Spanish, and we became the safe haven for a lot of the Spanish speakers here in Emporia. They would just come in and say, "Hey, we're new. We just moved here. Like, how can you help us?" Or like, "Where is this? Where is that?" And a very common question was, "How can I start a business? Like, what can I do? Who can I talk to?" And at first it was like, "I don't know, but let me find out. I know who can help you." Um, I got to talking with SBDC, and it was wonderful. We formed a wonderful connection. However, they only spoke English, and it was very hard to try to refer people when there was a language barrier. And I was telling Lisa from SBDC, what if we start Mi Negocio Academy? I'm like, what if we start something where we can tell people about how to start your business, ways to do it, and see if it works. She was all on board. My boss was all on board. She's like, let's do it. This is a way that we can support our community. The mission of the chamber is simple. It's to support businesses of all sizes and all backgrounds. So this is a wonderful way for us to create a Spanish-speaking environment for entrepreneurs that are from the Spanish-speaking descent. So that's how Emporia Spanish speakers got started. And it's to empower Spanish-speaking entrepreneurs. In Mi Negocio Academy, what it does, it's a mentorship program that helps entrepreneurs get started. We link them with different types of facilitators that are going to help them start the way to start their businesses. So in these pictures here in the background, you can see the second class when they're graduating from the class. And I can't wait to tell you a little bit more about these individuals here in a little bit. The pictures on the side, it's Luisana and I doing the presentation. I do it in English and Luisana does it in Spanish. She's wonderful. And the picture on the bottom, it's Lisa Brumbo with SBDC. Where we were with the first class graduation. So in this mentorship program, we help them with different things. We help them with the connections that they need for financing, for permits, licensing, marketing. So we contact, chamber members that are a part of our community that, they can connect with. And we help them, we facilitate the translating part, and the whole class is in Spanish. There's a lot of question and answers. The program is 5 months long. So, a facilitator comes in, they speak about, like, let's say finance, what they have to do to get started, what type of financing they need, what type of loans they're out there. And then, for 3 weeks, they get homework on how can they achieve, this goal. So, but yeah, it's wonderful because we work really closely with the city. We have zoning and permits come in. I have a wonderful story with that. So we had a Mexican restaurant entrepreneur. His name is Alonso. He had just started his Mexican restaurant here in Emporia. And he was having a really hard time with permits, with everything because of the language barrier. So he came to the chamber and was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know who to talk to. I am just trying to open up, my restaurant, and I'm just like, I'm just going in circles. And I was like, hey, we're about to start Mi Negocio Academy. You should join. I think it would be really good for you. This was in November, and the classes started in December. And by our third class, we had our city director of permits come in and talk about what do you need to do to get different types of permits. And he raised his hand and he was like, I've been trying to get a front patio authorized, and it's going on months and months, and I'm just going in circles. What can I do? Can you please help me? And Corey, the director, was like, yes, come see me tomorrow. And 2 weeks later, he had construction work going, and a month and a half later, his patio was done. So that's the power of connection. That's the power of this program. It's just connecting those links that people need. Next slide, please. So in this picture here, we have Home Access, which is Juan Pablo Ordóñez. He is a industrial engineer in Ecuador. He does marvelous work. His work is mind-blowing. I mean, like, he can make anything look amazing. And when he was showing us his work and what he's wanting to do, and his main goal is to become a general contractor here in the States, and he's going through the classes right now and doing everything. But it's so wonderful to see where he started when he got here and where he is now, how the city is embracing him and is using him. And, through this program, he's been able to A, work on his English, and B, just see the success that's coming on. So you get a lot of mentorship. You get things tailored to what you're needing. And the best part of it all is that once we finish the program, we have their graduation, but we also have their work exhibition where they put up their work so people can see a display of what is going to be coming to Emporia. Next slides, please. So here on the top, we have the first class that graduated. We were very excited to have Kansas Commerce Taylor Wash with us. She was part of our graduation ceremony. We had our city manager, Trey Cocking. We had representation from U.S. Congress. It was just so amazing. And in the first class, we had 7 different nationalities, ages from 17 to 63. We had a lady from Colombia who is a fashion designer, and she does dresses for Miss Universe. I mean, she's amazing, and the work she does has been really, really unique, and it's so neat that I now have, a seamstress that can make my dresses for galas. And, we have in that class, we also had chefs, Peruvian restaurants. We had artisania, so which is like handmade things. Um, and so we also had painters and restaurant, like I said. In the second class, the second year, we've been doing it for 2 years now. We had a hair stylist. We had another restaurant, a Venezuelan restaurant, open up. We had another baker and a car sales rep that is opening up his company. I really want to share his story, which is amazing. He is actually a general surgeon in Nicaragua. And when I first met him, I'm like, he's so distinguished, the way he would speak, the way he would carry himself. And the more I got to talk to him, I was like, why cars? Why do you want to start a dealership? Like, what is it? And he's like, Rebecca, I want to be frank with you. I am a general surgeon in Nicaragua, but I can't practice here. Like the school, he's like, I went 12 years to school in Nicaragua. If I were to start again here, it's going to be a very long time. So, and I'm like, what are you doing? Said he'll no, we let's see what we can do. And he went through the program and he graduated, and I was able to connect him with the CEO of our rural hospital here, Newman Regional Health, with Kathy Pimple. And even though he is not a general surgeon here, he's able to work in the surgical department as a tech. So it's not the actual doctor, but it's in the field of what he did back home. And to him, that was more than enough because he can now, it's encouraging him to go back to school and to really, go for it because he feels like he's in. But yeah, those are a little bit of stories here in Emporia of how we've tried helping our Latino community feel welcome and feel like they're a part of Emporia. The next slide, please. So today, I really wanted to feature Mi Negocio Academy. However, the Chamber, we really try to be there for everyone. And this spring, we launched a new event called Cheers, Chat, and Connect. And we reached out to all of our businesses, all of the factories, everybody that has newcomers, and we told them we want to welcome everyone who has been here 3 years or less. We want to connect them with people, we want them to connect with people that have interests alike. So we had people that liked coffee, join a coffee table. With people that like to read, join a reading table. People that like crafts, join a craft table. That event was such a success and it was mind-blowing. We had people from 11 different countries joined and 7 different languages were spoken. And when we did the introduction, it was beautiful to hear all the different accents, all the different backgrounds, all the different ages, and how we all became one. Like the connection there felt so wonderful. I mean, we were all smiles like at the end to where we're going to do it again September 11th, just to, to bring in more people and to make everyone feel welcome, not just the Latino community, but our community as a whole. With that, I want to say thank you for letting me share a little bit about what we're doing in Emporia through the Chamber of Commerce and how we're welcoming our community.
Thanks, Rebecca. Luisana,
Hi, I'm
listos?
here. Listos. Good morning. Thank you for welcome and welcome to everyone joining for the first time. And it's a great blessing to be able to participate as Employee Spanish speakers at this conference. And it's an honor to represent our organization. I'm Luisana Chaida. I live in Emporia with my husband, Gil Chaida, for 3 years. We are from Venezuela. We fell in love with Emporia at first seeing. Emporia was so beautiful for us. I have had the opportunity to work as a community outreach coordinator for Emporia Spanish speaker for exactly 1 year and 3 months. Well, a fairly short presentation. Those who know me here know I improved my English. Spanish is my first language. I'm working my English every day. Right now, I'm better with numbers. Statistics is my better language. So, however, before talking numbers and delving into what we accomplished as organization with the community, I would like to share with you our mission. The next slide, please, Simon. Our mission, which is none other than increasing equity, eliminating language and culture barriers, and providing essential service and resources in education and advocacy. Empower Spanish Speakers is a nonprofit organization that decides to work hard with the community. This organization has existed for 7 years, and we have been operating formally at 100% for less than 2 years around. The next slide, please, Simon. Okay. As a nonprofit foundation, we usually really volunteers support our programs. However, as an Empower Spanish speakers, we also volunteer for the programs developed by other organizations, such as for example, Resources Bus and Laundry Love. These programs are designed to help low-income communities every month. Every month. For 1 year, Empower Spanish speaker we're working partner with St. Catherine and Newman Regional Health, St. Catherine Church and Newman Regional Health Hospital lead the programs. And we find people who need help there. This is important to us because we would like everyone to know that we are not a typical organization that stays in the office waiting. On the contrary, we go out in search of the people who don't even know what they need, whatever place. 2025 is the year we use our slogan, Sí, como no. Sí, como no is like yes, of course, whatever you need. Sí, como no. Every day. Because it's not about what we offer, but what the community needs. We also have Spanish language radio show, we will record a podcast talking with the organization to have a specific program for the community, which the Latino community often does know about. Part of the language barrier, we can help them by recording information about the organization offering twice a month. Likewise, of the second consecutive years, we are volunteer the organization and develop the Unbound Gravel of the world's largest events with more than 4,000 cyclists participating. This year, more than 20 volunteers work more than 125 hours to support the development of the activity. Rebeca, ¿se está entendiendo un poco? Okay, thank you.
Everybody's understanding, right? Perfect.
Thank you. Las Voces Gazette is a new partnership with Emporia newspaper where we can highlight success stories from K people or the community. Can you please pass the light? En este momento, Rebeca, si me puedes ayudar un poco para resumir la historia.
Okay, I'm going to translate for her because she wants to do a summary of a story, if that's okay.
Okay, the next slide, please, Simone. Ok, mientras pasamos la lámina para resumir un poco con respecto a la lámina anterior, por favor. The
Previous
last
slide,
slide,
please.
please. Ok. Las Voces Gazette es la sociedad que tenemos con el periódico de Emporia.
So with Emporia Gazette, we have an article called Las Voces.
Esto que ven en pantalla es un ejemplo de cómo se presenta el periódico una vez al mes.
This is an example of what the paper articles look like once a month.
Todos los artículos están escritos en español para que la comunidad pueda tener información relevante acerca de las historias.
All of the articles are written in Spanish, so people know what's going on.
En el mes de mayo tuvimos la oportunidad
In
de
the
colocar parte de lo que significa Emporia Spanish Speaker conectando con las comunidades.
In the month of March, this was one of the stories that was put on there.
Asimismo, pudimos contar la historia muy relevante de
That's
Juan
how we
Pablo
were able
Ordóñez.
to do a relevant story of Juan Pablo Ordóñez.
Los invito a tomar este periódico
I
porque da a
invite you
detalle
to look at this newspaper.
la historia de un inmigrante que con tan solo 6 meses de haber comprado su primera bicicleta,
To read the story about this immigrant that moved to the States with only using his bicycle for 6 months.
tomó la carrera XL, la más grande, por 350 millas, donde pudo retarse y poder completar esta carrera en 42 horas.
Where he took the challenge of taking the longest ride of 350 miles, which was the longest one, and he did it in 42 hours.
Leland Daines comentaba que la carrera de 350 millas para Juan Pablo fue un ejemplo de lo que es el recorrido de un inmigrante en este país.
Juan Pablo shared with Leland that that ride was a personal challenge of how immigrants feel living here in the U.S. day to day.
Pueden ver más detalles en el periódico. En la siguiente lámina, Simone, please. The next slide, please. Esta, por supuesto, es un artículo muy importante para mi esposo y para mí,
This is a
porque
very
tuvimos,
important. This is
ya,
a very important article for my husband and I.
porque gracias a la Cámara de Comercio tuvimos la oportunidad de poder participar en la primera clase de Mi Negocio Academy el año pasado.
Thanks to the Chamber of Commerce, we were able to be a part of the first class of Mi Negocio Academy.
Y pues pudimos ser los primeros latinos en ofrecer el primer Business After Hour en Emporia. Y eso fue un logro muy grande que le vamos a agradecer muchísimo siempre a Janine McKenna, a Rebeca Herrera y a la Cámara de Comercio.
Um, it was a huge accomplishment because we were the first Latino entrepreneurs to have a business after hours. And I am forever thankful to President CEO Janine McKenna, Rebeca Herrera, and the Chamber of Commerce.
En Emporia Gazette, las voces pueden ver también historias como la graduación de más de 20 latinos en high school en el mes de mayo de este año. Muchos adultos que tuvieron la oportunidad de graduarse de high school en Flint Hills Learning Center.
Another article story is 20 adults that went through the high school program and graduated with their high school diploma.
La historia de la señora Flor, la que ven en la parte inferior izquierda,
The story of the lady in the lower left, Flor,
nos ayuda muchísimo a poder motivar a las personas que pueden visitar nuestras oficinas porque con 73 años no encontró las barreras para poder graduarse de high school también.
is a motivation for all of us because at the age of 73 years old, she took the challenge on and graduated from high school.
Es un gran ejemplo para la comunidad y pues van a ver muchísimas historias que pueden ver en Emporia Gazette. Cada mes estamos trabajando en las historias de personas claves en la comunidad.
These are just examples of what we write in the articles. We welcome you guys to tune in and start looking at our La Voz Latina here in Emporia. It comes out once a month.
Okay, the next slide, please. Okay, empowering our community young. Laura Obando y Ashley Escorcia from Nicaragua. Laura Obando from Colombia and Ashley Escorcia from Nicaragua. Son dos jóvenes que tienen una pequeña descripción en esta lámina que ven enfrente.
So we have Laura Obando from Colombia and Ashley Escorcia from Nicaragua. There's a short little summary of who they are on the slides.
Sin embargo, ellas han demostrado con su capacidad de voluntariar o de trabajar sin recibir nada a cambio, las ganas que tienen de ayudar a la comunidad.
Are two prime examples of people that have came to the U.S. and have started off as volunteers and been able to make a difference in Emporia.
Laura Bando es una profesional dentista de Colombia, sin embargo, ella tampoco encontró las excusas para poder adentrarse en Emporia y sacar todas sus fortalezas y cualidades y ahora representa una parte latina en la Cámara de Comercio como la cara principal, como asistente ejecutiva de toda la Cámara de Comercio.
Laura Obando is a dentist in Colombia, and when she moved here, she knew no English, and that was not a barrier for her. She made it a challenge to learn, and now she is our executive assistant here at the Chamber of Commerce, is wonderful and speaks wonderful English. We love having her here.
Yes, tuvimos la oportunidad que estuviera ayudándonos y siempre está abierta a ayudarnos como voluntaria en Emporia Spanish Speakers. Y para nosotros fue un honor poder ayudar y empujar un poco en que esto fuese posible porque es fenomenal y una excelente profesional que está cumpliendo sus sueños aquí en Estados Unidos.
And the way that it all started was her starting off at Emporia Spanish Speakers, volunteering her time. And that's where, we saw how she worked and how she was she didn't let a language barrier stop her. And we saw the drive that she had to keep going. So she's a prime example of her making a difference in Emporia.
Yes. And Ashley, con solo 18 años, creo que me faltarán las palabras de poder hablar sobre ella porque También comenzó como voluntaria con nosotros y con tan corta edad ha demostrado muchísimo el talento y las ganas de trabajar que tiene junto a nosotros con la comunidad.
Another example is Ashley Escorcia. At her young age of 18 years old, she has shown so much power in the way that she works. Her work ethic is so strong. And Luisana doesn't have the words enough to describe how much she has been a tremendous help for her at Emporia Spanish Speakers.
Y gracias a la alianza que tenemos con Kansas Works, hoy es nuestra asistente ejecutiva o nuestra asistente administrativa en Emporia Spanish Speakers, gracias a un programa de jóvenes que tiene Kansas Works con nosotros y está haciendo su carrera con nosotros y al mismo tiempo es estudiante de higiene dental en el Technical College. Se está formando como profesional al mismo tiempo que puede apoyar a la comunidad.
Through the partnership that Emporia Spanish Speakers has with Kansas Works, they're able to hire Ashley through a youth program. And at the same time, Ashley is going to Flint Hills Tech College to get her dental hygiene degree. So she is working on becoming a professional while making a difference, helping the Latino community through Emporia Spanish Speakers.
Okay, thank you, Rebeca. On the next slide, Simone, please. I don't know if it's the next, please. No, it's the other one, the last. Last, please.
This is the last one, because then it's core. Okay.
Esa es la última, Luisana.
No,
Sí.
la anterior, sorry, la anterior, donde aparece Lilan.
Oh, the one where it
Oh.
shows Lilian, so previous.
Got
that
it, got
one.
it, got it.
Yeah, esa es. Thank God.
Oh,
What would you say is only part of what we have been able to achieve? However, absolutely everything we have talked about is possible thanks to a person who had a dream, who had a vision, a humble man, a good friend, an excellent leader. Leland Danes is the founder and director of our organization. He is a person we honor greatly. The text you see on screen, that small paragraph, is somewhat symbolic of the presentation. However, that is the only point that describes our director. An American man who has the vision and the heart to help many Latino families is the part we admire most about Leland. Because believe me, we know firsthand that there are many Latino entrepreneurs who can also be leaders in an organization to help Latinos. I know many there. Leland, a man who dared and learned Spanish as second language so he could help more people. His vision gives hope to many people again. We are in critical moment in our community, and we have been transformed thanks his vision and the vision of our board of directors to offer a light to people who felt lost. We have an incredible board of directors, the best. Rebeca Herrera as a president of our board, Aaron Larson, Rebecca Carey, Taylor Wash, David Maldonado, key people who have been with us for a long time. Jessica Gutierrez, Viridiana, Viviana. There are also so many people who have put their hearts into it and support Leland's vision from the beginning because they believe in this project. He's a silent guest today. However, sorry. Sorry. However, I know that many know him. And we're very grateful to Leland for everything we have achieved and for everything we will continue to do of our community. Sorry, the next slide, please. Next. Got it. Ah, God, dije que no iba a llorar y lo hice. I'm sorry. Rebeca, te necesito ahora.
She said she's sorry for crying. She was trying not to.
Oh my gosh.
He's gonna make me cry now.
Ah, las dos anteriores, por favor.
The two before, the two prior.
Ok. En este momento estamos teniendo un programa muy importante que son Language Exchange o Workshop en Spanish.
So at this time, we are having a special program of language exchange.
Esto que ven acá es el último taller que tuvimos en Jones Aquatic Center en Emporia, donde pudimos enseñar español a más de 40 salvavidas en el centro acuático de Emporia.
So this picture right here that you see is the last event that they had teaching lifeguards at the Jones Aquatic Center how to speak Spanish, the basics of Spanish so they can help save lives.
Así como nosotros estamos cada día trabajando en nuestro inglés, parte de la visión de nuestra organización es poder hacer el intercambio de idiomas para que más personas puedan hablar español.
Just like we're trying to achieve to speak English and learn English, we're trying to share the same and sprinkle a little bit of Spanish to people as well so they can learn the basics.
Hemos tenido programas donde Lilan principalmente es el líder de enseñanza. Hemos enseñado a grupos de odontólogos o dentistas. Hemos ayudado a una comunidad completa en Colby. Hemos apoyado salvavidas y próximamente nos vamos a Dodge City, Wichita, Kansas City y Nebraska a dar más talleres.
So these types of workshops that we do is pretty much to give them the basic tools that they need to have a language exchange. It is not for them to learn Spanish because they can't learn Spanish in 2 hours. However, it's the starting point and giving them the tools that they need so they can learn. We have worked with other places as well, such as in Colby, Kansas. We've worked with orthodontists. We've also worked with different city managements. The next one that we're going to be at is Dodge City, Wichita, Kansas City. ¿Es todo?
Yeah,
Okay.
Nebraska.
Oh, and Nebraska.
The next slide, please. Ok. De la anterior, por favor.
The previous one, please.
Previous, please.
Yeah.
Ok. Desde enero de 2025 nos vimos en una necesidad muy grande de ayudar a la comunidad.
So in January 2025, here in Emporia, we had a tragedy where we needed to help the community a lot.
Y por esa razón, debido a una situación grave con Tyson, habiendo cerrado su fábrica, cerrado sus puertas, más de 800 familias quedaron sin trabajo.
With Tyson Foods closing down, more than 800 people lost their jobs.
Esta es una parte importante para nuestro trabajo en este momento,
This is a
porque
very, this is a very important part of our work right now.
porque gracias a esta necesidad pudimos hacer una gran alianza con Kansas Works.
Because of this need, we were able to partner up with Kansas Works.
Y al fin logramos tener nuestras instalaciones en la dirección que tienen en pantalla, donde nos pueden visitar cuando quieran. Las puertas están abiertas para todos los que están en esta sala.
To where they now house us, and we have a physical location. So now people can come and see us in person, and we're there at their location, and we're housed there.
En la foto que ven en pantalla es una pequeña parte de las personas de la comunidad que cada día van a recibir ayuda por parte de Emporia Spanish Speakers.
So the picture that you see here it's just a glimpse of how many people we help a day. This is just a picture that we took when there were, people there people that we have helped for them to get jobs.
Nos hemos encargado, Lilan, Ashley, yo y todos los que pueden estar de voluntarios, la junta directiva también ha apoyado muchísimo en que no solamente ayudamos a las personas con lo que necesiten, sino que también los motivamos a que puedan mejorar sus habilidades en lo que sea necesario.
We not only help them with resumes and things that they're needing, we are also pushing them to better themselves and motivating them to strive for more.
Ya tenemos 10 personas inscritas para Mi Negocio Academy 2026.
We have 10 people at this time signed up for Mi Negocio Academy 2026.
El próximo mes tenemos una clase de computación para las personas que no saben manejar la tecnología como socio con la librería, donde vamos a enseñar cómo usar la computadora a 10 personas de la comunidad.
So next month, we are going to start a new program, partnering up with Emporia Library, where we're going to be giving computer classes, the basics of computers, to 10 people to show them the basics of different programs and how they can use a computer.
Estamos creando
Monique.
también programas.
Excuse
So-
me, Luisana, we've got only about 5 minutes left, and I'm concerned that we need another speaker here.
Yeah, of course. Para finalizar, la última página se las voy a dejar para que la puedan analizar cada uno. Tiene la presentación.
The last slide, she's just going to show it to you so you can take a look and see how, so you can analyze all the work that is being done at Emporia Spanish Speakers.
En esa última lámina lo que pueden ver es que hemos podido ayudar a más de 1,500 personas en 6 meses en distintos programas y pues pueden seguirnos en nuestras redes sociales para que se puedan comunicar con nosotros para ayudarlos en cualquier cosa que necesiten.
So, and this graph right here, it shows you that from January to now, we have helped 1,511 people. If you want to follow us on our socials, you can see the work that we're doing every day. Thank you.
Thank you, Luisana and Rebecca. One of the first times Luisana presented for Kansas Sampler Foundation, we did the same thing where we had translating because she is very good at her English. And sometimes when you're practicing a foreign language, it can feel really overwhelming. So thank you, Rebecca, for translating. So with that, Monique, we will cue you up. We're excited to hear about the work that you are doing in Douglas County.
I will try to stick to just reading the slides and not talk so much since we are short on time. I am also winded. Douglas County Corps is a nonprofit organization built by entrepreneurs for entrepreneurs with a vision of an economy powered by the people who live, work, create, and dream right here in our community. We believe the vibrant culture, creativity, and talent in Douglas County should be driving force behind our local economy and that the support systems that help businesses grow should reflect the people and who make this place what it is. This is the CEO, Kyle Johnson, and myself. CORE has been a nonprofit organization for a few years now. I am a military spouse, so I move quite often. I'm also Native American. I'm from the Ohlone Coastone Esselen Nation in California, and I'm also queer. So I have a lot of things that I have to navigate every time we move and relocate every 4 years. So when we moved here in Lawrence 5 years ago as an entrepreneur, I designed jewelry. I've done that for 25 years. I had a really difficult time finding support, finding any local businesses that would entertain talking to me about getting into their shops or anything like that. Man, so that was 5 years ago. There's been a lot that's happened that connected me with CORE. And I've been with CORE since January. So this was our first article talking about us as a duo. Next slide. These are some events that I have created because lived experience is sometimes the most potent remedy for change, I guess. When I got into vending and pop-up events here in the Lawrence area, I noticed that a lot of the events catered to a certain crowd. And when I would look around and see that I was only one of 2 or 3 people of color in that space as a vendor, it didn't feel great. I have a lot of really amazing, talented intertribal artistic relatives that live around here that I tried to get in these spaces, and it was a difficult feat. So 2 years ago, I created the inclusive winter market that happens at the Lead Center. I take over the whole building, and I have just built a small army of artists, service providers, holistic practitioners, especially from the BIPOC and queer communities, and just started collecting them and just started doing a lot of grassroots work without even realizing what I was building. So these are a couple pictures from the inclusive market. If you look at the picture on the very bottom right, the lady in the black dress with red hair, that is my very good friend Zoriana. She is from Ukraine, and she came here a year ago, and she walked into the art gallery that I was running at the time. It was called Art Love Collective, and she speaks very, very broken English. Her husband is a professor up at KU, and in Ukraine, she is a extremely well respected artist and highly sought after. And so she had a really hard time trying to find her niche here. Because of my connections and my grassroots work, I was able to get her into places that would celebrate her work, that would really highlight her stories and where she's come from. And she's gotten into some really great places that have elevated her ability to support herself and her family. I'm not going to read all that. So next. That's okay. I know your computer's being silly today. Through CORE, we have created some roundtables that meet bi-weekly. Our roundtables can be anywhere from, 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, up to 40 people, entrepreneurs, and we come together and we're really creating a very reciprocal space where we're not only finding support and resources for entrepreneurial work, but we're also finding ways that we need to be able to support each other mentally and emotionally. I think that people that come from minority communities face a lot more injustices or challenges that can sometimes become barriers in the entrepreneurial systems. So to have this space to give access to success has been instrumental for a lot of the folks who participate. A really quick example that comes to mind of tangible services for some of these entrepreneurs. We have some digital graphic artists or digital designers in the group who do that for a living. That can be a very expensive service. So being in this group, it gives that digital designer access to other services that may be around. We have massage therapy. We have everything you could possibly think of. So in this group, a really incredible bartering system is coming back into play and is giving people the ability to trade services or goods in order to access things that are going to amplify the work that they do. And it's also been pretty great because the networking factor of just authentic, safe people really have brought in opportunities to each of us that we hadn't known before. Yeah, next slide. This was another event that the pictures with the yellow floor. I've been doing a lot of collaboration work. I know that there are really big events in Douglas County that highlight some really great things. This was the Master Gardeners event. They have this event for the past 20 years. They get about 1,000 people per year, and they sell plants, and it's wonderful. Native plants. They educate, community on all of those things. I partnered with them in hopes to kind of collaborate and create an art market in that space. We used the pavilion of the fairgrounds. They use a small corner of it. So just by being in that space, we were really able to highlight some artists, service providers, local businesses to a crowd that might not otherwise have had access or known that they were there. A lot of the feedback that I get from the inclusive market or other events like this is people who have lived here for a long time will tell me like, I never knew this was here or anything like that. So my being a new person in Lawrence when I moved here, it was difficult. And so I think just having the lived experience and unbeknownst to myself doing grassroots work, it ended me up with CORE. And so we're putting together a lot of really incredible programs to support entrepreneurial journeys, not only connecting them with local resources through our SBDC chamber, places like that, but we're really filling the gaps of mental, emotional support, cultural understanding and respect, and teaching reciprocity, and really being a safe place where even the LGBTQ community can come in and be centered. Next slide. These are a couple more events. The one on the far left, the Black Business Market, that is my friend Sherelle. Her and I have known each other for a few years. She has an incredible little dessert business, and she it came to me and asked me, she needed some alternative ideas because the local Juneteenth celebrations vendor fees were a little high. So I said, host your own event. That's, what I've always done for my Native community. And so I empowered her by giving her some resources and tools and got her a space to host a Black business market. And it was a very successful event. A lot of the vendors had sold out for the first time. They've never experienced that kind of success before. So I believe that Sherelle has created an event that will become a yearly celebration for the Black community. And I just think that having somebody who can connect and be a mentor and support events like that for entrepreneurs who want to do more than just show up for their community. They want to create space for their community and help teach reciprocity in those spaces. So that's another event that I got to help set up. Next slide. These are our roundtables. This is our information for roundtables. We meet in person and on Zoom. We typically have the links posted on our Facebook, or we're getting a new website soon. We've got a lot of things in the works. So if you are ever in the area or want to click on Zoom, please feel free to join us. Also, this is just the community side of it. Kyle runs our tech side of it, where we help tech entrepreneurs, and there's a lot of really incredible programs. We just kicked off our accelerator program on Monday, and yeah.
Thank you, Monique. Sorry you had to go through those quickly. I'm grateful for Monique and Rebecca and Luisana for sharing their stories. I'm going to plug Nancy's. I think you will get to hear more from Monique and Kyle in December. So if you have, I guess, Nancy, should we open it up for questions now? Or?
Yeah, that'd be great. Do you have any questions? And I know I've primed somebody to join us. Simone Cummings, in our conversation, spoke about how she tries to emulate what the Spanish speakers are doing. Simone, are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here. So I'm one of those people who wants to learn Spanish and has been working on learning Spanish. And of course, everybody starts with something like Duolingo. But one of the things I told Nancy about is that I've been using an app called Preply, because with Duolingo has helped me to read Spanish. And so that has been helpful. But speaking Spanish is very difficult. And I've attended some of the meetups and things like that, coffee and conversations where you can work on your Spanish. But I needed some additional help. So if Preply is an app that you can get on your phone, and it gives you the option of taking lessons with someone, someone who speaks Spanish is a native Spanish speaker. And the lessons are priced at varying ranges. So I found someone on Preply who was from Mexico because I wanted to learn Spanish, specifically Mexican Spanish. And I paid $10 a lesson for my Spanish lessons, and he would talk to me for an hour, and it was incredibly helpful. So I learned a lot, and I was able, even while is it Luisana was speaking, I was able to understand what she was saying based upon my Spanish lessons. And so I had told Nancy about these and about how wonderful they were. I love my Spanish teacher. He's fabulous. And it's really nice because not only do I learn the language, but we're talking about things in context. So I learned about, the history of Mexico, what's going on in Mexico from a political perspective. We talk about my life and, my kids and my family. So it's really conversational Spanish, and it's been absolutely wonderful.
Simone, Rebecca and Luisana indicated that some of the people that they know might be interested in becoming mentors on Preply. So they'll be checking that out.
Yeah, it's a great app, and you can sign up for the app and you can teach other people and get paid for doing it.
That's awesome. New relationships. Well, thank you, everybody. Michael has shared Mango Languages as a tool at the Kansas State Library. Thank you very much. And if you will share the app or the chat, you can find that. We will also, or I might try to include that, Michael, in the resources. So thank you so much for joining us. And we have 2 in-person grant writing classes scheduled this summer. One is in Dodge City on August the 19th, and one is as part of the, here, I'm trying to hurry and not doing it effectively. But let me find my chat here. We have two in Dodge City on August 19th, and one in that is associated with the local food summit in Salina on July 29th. And otherwise, I think I'll close our call today by telling you that our next call will be, and by the way, thank you to our speakers. I really like the idea that this call would be around the 4th of July when we celebrate that we're all immigrants. And we're all different in some way or another. Monique speaks very clearly to the ways that we're different. So thank you for speaking that voice for us. So our next call is one of our speakers from the Connecting Entrepreneurial Communities event. Sherry Hart is going to talk to us about unlocking the power of local search, online local search. And if you've been here before, I always close with a quote. This one's by Margaret J. Wheatley. She says, "Circles create soothing space where even reticent people can realize that their voice is welcome." So thank you so much for joining us today.